start with that.
Hey everybody, it's Marla Martinson
Hey.
with Conversations with Cupid and Karen A. Dahlman. We're here.
Hi.
Hello, good morning. I've got
Good
my
morning.
Ouija mug, and Karen is being tropical today. We're at the end of summer, but she's still.
Oh, I'm still pushing it as long as I can. California.
Woohoo, we're California girls, baby. And these two California witchy ladies want to talk about writing today because
Yeah.
Karen and I are both authors. I've written four books, and I'm writing my fifth now. And Karen has written three or four?
3 books, and I'm working on 2 more.
Okay, so we're both
at
going to
the
have
same
five.
time, once a writer, always the writer. You get the bug, and you just don't want to stop because it's so much fun. It's so rewarding as well to know that you know something, that your words culminated in something like this.
That's right. It's fantastic. And the reason we wanted to chat about writing is both of us in conversations and being out there, people will come up to us and say, "Oh, I've got an idea for a book," or "I've always wanted to write a book," or how I've even had people email me and say, "Can we just have coffee so I can pick your brain about how to get published, or how do you know any agents, or how do you have an editor, or how do you write a book?" Or and then I usually will direct them to some great books on Amazon on it because I don't have time. If I wanted to charge for my time and sit down with people and coach them, I could do that, but that's not what I do. So I just tell them about some great books to read because it has much more information than I could ever tell them. But I will say that, I think there's a book in us all. A lot of people make the misconceptions. It was interesting. I don't know I know your books are pretty much channeled from the board, but mine are like my memoirs, and then I've got some self-help books. And they just assumed that I had a ghostwriter. They're like, well, and so many people have said, who writes your books? And I'm like, what do you mean, who writes my books? I write my books. I'm a writer.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I do have an amazing editor. Her name is Peggy
Yeah.
Lang, and she is a goddess to me. She is everything. I mean, my books would not be what they are without her. She's an amazing editor. But I write my books, and I wouldn't want to, unless I can understand a celebrity like Larry King. My friend Julie is a ghostwriter, and she's writes celebrities' books. They don't have time. They don't know how. Whatever. Their stories written. But for people who, if you want to be a writer, you got to delve in and try to do the writing.
Yeah, just start writing. One of the things that I find that's helpful, I've always journaled all my life. I've kept a journal since I was the age of 8. Around the same time I got my first Ouija board. I've always journaled, and just writing my thoughts down and collecting my words and then putting them in a format, whether it's proper perfect English is not the point. It's the point of allowing the flow of the information coming out. And so I keep dream journals too. I write my dreams down. I write my regular journal during the day. I always keep pads of paper with me wherever I go. They're always in my purse or in my car. Ideas come, you must write them down. So I agree with Marla. There's a book, there's words, there's prose, there's something in everybody. And if you feel compelled or drawn to writing, you just have to start. And you can start with just a daily practice of journaling. And it could be just talking to yourself. You don't have to think of the subject you're writing about yet, but just start that flow of the words coming out. That's where you start.
And if you do have an idea, you will not remember it. Like if I lay down at night, sometimes I think, okay, for this next chapter, I want to write that. And I'm like, Marla, you're not going to remember that in the morning.
No.
So I have my phone, and we have in the iPhones, there's a notes section.
Yes, I use that too.
So I do that. And I just do it. I just grab it and put it there because I will never remember it. I started writing as a kid. I wrote poetry. I loved poetry. I'd sit there and just write poems. I had books of poems that I wrote. Some of them may have been just stupid. Roses are red and the sky is blue, but I love you. Or so, but then they got better and better and more fun. And I'd write about things that I thought about and tried some I was very creative. But if you feel that you have something to say, just start doing it. And I will say that I know procrastination is a big thing with writers. Like I can't tell you how clean my refrigerator is or my kitchen. Right? It's like, oh yeah, I think I need to go clean the toilet.
You always find something else to do because writing does take this great focus for sure. And it's easy to go find something else. Well, I need to go do that and do this and do that. You're right.
And then once that's done, I can write. And I don't know what it is because we love to write, but at the same time, there's this procrastination around it that I know most writers have. And I'm writing my third installment of my memoirs now. And this one is, I'm so excited about it. It's more on about my spiritual journey. There's not going to be as many stories about the matchmaking, but
Right.
I started it in January and I only have about 24,000 words written and it's September already. And I'm like, I was kicking myself in the butt. I'm like, it should be done by now. I was like, God, what is wrong with you? But then I thought, wait a minute, but it's slowly, like, even if it's like a tortoise, consistent writing, even if it's once a week, 500, sometimes I say, okay, do 500 words a day and that'll really get it along. As long as you're consistent, whether it's daily, weekly, or every other week, sit your butt down, get some stuff on the page, and at the end of the year, you will have a book.
Yeah, there's a process to it. I mean, I know for me, I give myself deadlines. So I tell myself this book is going to be into my editor and it'll be ended by this month so we can get it back into the publishing house by this month. So I back everything up. And then I say, that's the date I'm sticking to. And so that makes me sit down every day and write something, a little of something. When I get real serious about this book needs to be out and I'm being asked to get this book done. So we can get it edited and everything. But yeah, sit down. Start first by just journaling, writing your thoughts, letting them flow. If it's prose, it's just poetry. Yeah, I wrote a lot of poetry too as a child. I still do because it just keeps the flow. And when you feel stuck, I like to do something that's just kind of out of the ordinary. I might go for a run. I might go play a little game of golf. I might just do something that takes me out of what I'm so focused on writing about, the subject or the topic. Mine are very self-help, spiritual, supernatural, and metaphysical. So it's nice for me to go do something really tangible, like work in my garden, swim in my pool, go, like I said, play golf, go for a nice long walk. And then during that process, I let go. And when I come back to the page, presto, it's like all of a sudden I got all these great ideas flowing. And I, like Marla, I can't, when things come at night, when I'm in the flow of it, they come whenever they want to. The ideas flow. And so in the middle of the night, I'm getting all kinds of stuff and I just get up and write those down or use my little digital recorder. You just got to go with it. You got to trust the process. There is a process and everybody has their own unique process to writing.
And I would say also don't write with the end goal in mind of getting rich.
Right.
Or famous or,
right.
or selling a lot of books. Because very few writers make a living writing. Very few writers make any money or some money writing, just like actors. I mean, I think there's only 5% of the actors that make in Screen Actors Guild that make over, $5,000 a year or something like that. So it's a small percentage. So you've really got to do it because you want to do it. You love it. You're going to share your gifts, your story with the world. That's wonderful. But you just stay in the moment and remember why you're doing it because you want to get your story out. You want to share. You love what you're doing, not in hopes of having a bestseller. And it may be a bestseller. It may sell a lot of copies, but I just say do not go into it with that goal.
Yeah, very well said. Go into it for the process, for the love of writing, and then see what happens along the way. And I'll tell you, when I write my books, it's very transforming for me. I'll start off in one direction, and all of a sudden I've got boom, 4 other books coming out of that, and so I have to get focused again. And so those shoot off and become offshoots. I mean, here's my set of 3 books, and I go through them all the time. I got them dog tagged with little tabs and stuff. But they all called the Spirit series, and that's where mine went. And Marla's did a whole series on memoirs. It's like whatever you feel, you're going to find that it's going to keep pulling you to do more. It's like you can't stop once you start doing it. But I gotta say, the process is always the same. There's always that procrastination. There's always this flow of information, and there's also a shortage of it at times. And it's just riding out the waves, just as it is in life, And then to me, I write because I love the information. I love how it transforms me, and I love sharing the information with people. And when I share it and I get great responses in my book, and even if I don't, it's the people that say, I really want to hear more, and it encourages me to share more. So it's very rewarding, and it's a very rewarding in a very personal way, and it's not about making a lot of money. And I definitely didn't go into it for that reason. I have my other jobs and work that I do, but it is for the love. And if you
It's for
love
the love.
words, put it
And
down.
if you are an expert in your field, I mean, it establishes you as an expert. So now Karen writes these books on the Ouija board and spiritual subjects, and now she's on TV shows and radio shows, and I'm a matchmaker. And since I wrote the books about matchmaking and dating and advice, my memoirs, I've been on the Today Show and on radio shows, and so it does establish you as an expert in your field if you do want to get out there. So it can help business. It's funny because you say, okay, well, I haven't made millions of dollars or anything with my books, but there was two guys, because I'm a high-end matchmaker, and one guy in Hawaii had read my book, Excuse Me, Your Soulmate is Waiting, and contacted me and said, I love your spiritual side. I love what you're about. I want to hire you. So he became a client. I made thousands of dollars with him. And then another guy read one of my Diary of a Beverly Hills Matchmaker, and he contacted me on LinkedIn, and he joined. I gave him a program for $5,000. So just with these two guys, I made like 12 grand. So that was from my book, so I could directly attribute that to my book. So your books can make money for you in other ways as well, just business wise. It is good to have a book.
It is. It opens many doors.
Yes. All right, so you guys get writing. And
happy writing to you.
Happy writing, and just leave the toilet for later. Sit your butt down. Your toilet, your refrigerator, your floors, they can be scrubbed later.
Just keep writing.
Bye. Peace.